General Pam Bondi revealed some of the Epstein files will be released today. Here's what she said. Watch.
This will make you sick. 200 victims. 200. So we have over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. What you're going to see hopefully tomorrow is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information, but it's pretty sick what that man did.
Senator, you said you're going to release what you know. What can you tell us?
Yes, indeed, and I've been so pleased that AG Bondi and Director Patel have worked with me on this. As she said, we have to make certain that these victims, and it is over 250, that their names are redacted, they are protected. And Maria, this is going to be a phase 1 release in short order. I will have the hard copy in my hand. AG Bondi is responsible for what will be the public release on this. She has worked diligently on this, and so appreciative that we can begin to get this information, that we can begin to break apart what became a global human trafficking, sex trafficking ring, about $150 billion a year business. It is time to get some justice for these victims, for these women and children, and this will be a phase 1 release. There will be more to come.
That is unbelievable. I mean, we talk about all the sex trafficking and drug trafficking by dangerous drug cartels, and meanwhile, we've got this under our noses with some elites involved. That's why we all want to know what's happening here. This morning, we're with California Republican Party Chairwoman Jessica Milan Patterson. Go ahead, Jessica, jump in.
Hey, Senator, thanks for being with us. Can you talk a little bit about the transparency and the quickness for the Trump administration to move on these files that we've been asking for years now?
Yes, indeed. And Jessica, what we know is that there is a file the FBI has that is related to the trial. We know that there are IRS records, and we know that there is video footage from the Palm Beach residence. And over the last couple of years, I've been stymied, as you know, by Christopher Wray and the FBI, and they did not want to give this information forward. I tried to subpoena it in a Judiciary Committee. I was the top Republican on the Human Rights Subcommittee. In that capacity, I worked on this issue for the past couple of years, and when I chose to bring forward my subpoena, all of a sudden, Chairman Durbin decided we were going to adjourn the committee, and we issued no subpoenas.
Wow.
And there has been that attempt to hide this. And I will say this, you know, people are curious about the list. To me, this is not about celebrity. This is about breaking apart a global human trafficking, sex trafficking ring that has cost the lives and endangered the lives of untold individuals. And bringing this forward, being able to break it apart and to shut it down, to hold these people to account for what they have done to these girls and these boys and these women. We have to get to the bottom of this. This is modern day slavery. It has to stop. I said I would not relent. I did not. We will start making this information public. I am grateful to AG Bondi and Director Patel for their tenacious work.
Senator, let me move on and get your take on this bill. You're proposing
some breaking news regarding documents detailing some of the crimes committed by Jeffrey Epstein. Taking a look here at a post from Fox News on X, in which they say Epstein files : Pam Bondi sends fiery note to Kash Patel accusing FBI of withholding docs. So according to Fox News, Attorney General Pam Bondi sending that letter to FBI Director Kash Patel today, accusing federal investigators in New York of withholding thousands of pages of Jeffrey Epstein documents she has vowed to make public. Now, I do have a copy of that letter that was obtained by Fox News. A live now look at the Capitol building as I read to you what the Attorney General had to say. She goes on to say this: Dear Director Patel, before you came into office, I requested the full and complete files related to Jeffrey Epstein. In response to this request, I received approximately 200 pages of documents, which consisted primarily in flight logs, Epstein's list of contacts, and a list of victims' names and phone numbers. I repeatedly questioned whether this was the full set of documents responsive to my request and was repeatedly assured by the FBI that we had received the full set of documents. Late yesterday, I learned from a source that the FBI field office in New York was in possession of thousands of pages of documents related to the investigation and indictment of Epstein. Despite my repeated requests, the FBI never disclosed the existence of these files. When you and I spoke yesterday, you were just as surprised as I was to learn of this new information. She goes on to say by 8 a.m. tomorrow, February 28th, the FBI will deliver the full and complete Epstein files to my office, including all records, documents, audio and video recordings, and materials related to Jeffrey Epstein and his clients, regardless of how much information was obtained. There will be no withholdings or limitations to my or your access. The Department of Justice will ensure that any public disclosure of these files will be done in a manner to protect the privacy of victims and in accordance with law, as I have done my entire career as a prosecutor. Finally, she says, I am also directing you to conduct an immediate investigation into why my order to the FBI was not followed. You will deliver to me a comprehensive report of your findings and proposed personnel action within 14 days. I appreciate your immediate attention to this important matter. I know that we are both committed to transparency for the American people, and I look forward to continuing to work with you to serve our president and our country. And then it's signed, sincerely, Pam Bondi. Now, you may remember that Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, she was the one who swore in FBI Director Kash Patel, as you see.
Welcome back. President Trump is facing a brewing revolt from his MAGA base after his Justice Department shot down conspiracy theories tied to convicted sex offender, the late Jeffrey Epstein. Conspiracy theories which the president and multiple top DOJ officials had previously amplified. In a recent memo, the Justice Department said it won't release any more evidence in the Epstein case and reaffirmed that Epstein was not murdered, died by suicide, and that he did not maintain a client list. Now, that has prompted fury from Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino, who has threatened to quit over Attorney General Pam Bondi's handling of this matter, and that is according to a source who has spoken with Bongino. Bongino's anger at Bondi and skepticism of the DOJ's conclusions is being echoed by the president's loyal base. And it was on full display by some of the MAGA's most influential media personalities at a gathering of young conservatives this weekend in Florida.
How many of you are not satisfied with the results of the investigation? It looks like it's going to be, and now this is like the who's going to be off the island first, right?
Do you think she really gets MAGA? I don't think so. She wouldn't have behaved this way if she did. And now it's a time for choosing. It's a time for choosing. We're about to lose Dan for sure, and maybe Kash too, if she doesn't go.
The fact that the U.S. government, the one that I voted for, refused to take my question seriously and instead said, case closed, shut up, conspiracy theorist, was too much for me. And I don't think the rest of us should be satisfied with that.
President Trump is tamping down on any rift and standing by his Attorney General Pam Bondi, appearing with her this weekend and defending her as, quote, fantastic on social media. Joining me now is NBC News senior national politics reporter Matt Dixon, who's been covering this story for us. And Matt, glad.
Attorney General Pam Bondi didn't mince words today. She's not discussing growing calls for more information about federal files on Jeffrey Epstein. But over the weekend, those voices grew louder. The CBC's Katie Nicholson is tracking that for us. So, Katie, bring us up to speed on this story.
Okay, so Andrew, this all begins roughly about Monday of last week. The MAGA world just in turmoil since a memo dropped that said the Department of Justice has determined that no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted in the Jeffrey Epstein case. So that infuriated many MAGA-minded people who have long demanded the full release of the so-called Epstein files. So that includes unredacted flight logs from his private jet, materials from the sex trafficking investigation, an Epstein little black book or client list. It's all tied to that larger conspiracy lore that is popular in those circles about a cabal of global elites who engage in sex trafficking of children. So it's one of the many conspiracy theories embraced by some in the MAGA world as Trump sought the presidency a second time. And this has been seen as a betrayal by many of the people in that base. And Pam Bondi, who oversees the DOJ, is getting a lot of heat in particular. She had previously teased the release of a client list, implied she had these materials sitting on her desk to be reviewed, and she has, of course, since walked that back. But Dan Bongino, the FBI deputy director, previously a well-known voice who had pushed a lot of the conspiracy theories around the Epstein case, so angry by this new development, by this memo. It's been widely reported he implied he could no longer continue in his position as long as Bondi was still at the DOJ, still the Attorney General. So this, of course, involved Donald Trump, who previously promised he would declassify the Epstein files. He posted a long message over the weekend to try and calm things down, told the faithful essentially to drop it on Truth Social. He ended up getting ratioed by his own followers on his own platform, who were continuing to demand that he release the files. So he was asked about it again just this afternoon outside the White House, and he repeated much of what he had posted on the weekend. Here's a little bit of what he said.
She's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen, and I would say that, you know, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden, we went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it, but she's handled it very well, and it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release.
So, Andrew, two things happening there. First of all, he's undermining whatever information might be in these files, dismissing them, and then essentially serving this back to Bondi, who he has so far defended quite sort of vociferously in this matter.
And the Attorney General appears to have the support of Trump. What is she saying?
Yeah, well, I mean, she made it very clear in this press conference today. It was actually about drug cartels. She was then asked questions about this. She said she wasn't going to answer any questions about Epstein today, but she did address some of the calls for her to be fired or replaced because of this furor. Here's a little bit of Pam Bondi.
I'm going to be here for as long as the president wants me here, and I believe he's made that crystal clear. It's 4 years, well, 3.5 now, right? We've got 6 months in, and it feels like 6 years. But I was with Director Patel this morning, and we are working on fighting violent crime. We are working on all these issues that we deeply care about to make America safe again.
Now, she did suggest she wasn't familiar with the latest thing that the president had said about the files. What will she do? The DOJ has already suggested there is nothing more to be released, in part because you have to protect the alleged victims in this criminal investigation. And there are still, though, a lot of conservative voices not letting this drop. So there will continue to be pressure here. And there is a rich